Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the things we do not want to talk about. First of all, we are officially in July. We are in chapter 7 of 12 of 2024. This year is flying. It's flying. It's flying. Episode. Oh wow! So this is the seventh month. This is my seventh episode. When this comes out, it's going to be no, I lied. And I would say it's gonna be July the 7th. No, it's not. But most importantly, my birthday this month, I am going to be 27. Oh, right, that's the other seven. I'm gonna be 27 years old. And y'all, I am just like, when you're feeling something and you're just like, wow, that's how I feel. I'm gonna be 27. I'm 3 years from 30. I'm somebody where it has this hard time getting older. So it's just been a lot on my mind. I'm thinking about now I'm finally done with school for the year. I'm doing my new job and I'm just at a good content place, I would say. But most importantly, I'm looking forward to my birthday and I'm looking forward to like really reflecting and journaling and just thinking about all that I have became and all that I plan to become, right? Because I'm always becoming 24/7. And I think that really ties into like the segue for this episode, and it's looking at how beautiful self-awareness is. So I was on a fast this past week, and my fast included no bread, no alcohol. I don't really drink during the week, but it was just like still no alcohol. Even if I was to go out to eat with someone, I wouldn't get any, like a drink or something. What else? I made sure I read two chapters of the book of the Bible I read. So I normally read one book of the Bible every day, and I read my devotional. No social media, and what else? It was something else. I think that's pretty much it. So last week I had a really, really, really overstimulated week. And prior to that, I was just really hyper focused on social media too much. And I'm like, you know what? I need to put a hard stop on this. Hard stop. I'm overstimulated. And then once I started my new job this week, I became even more overstimulated. And I noticed it was becoming just from the job of me getting acclimated. But it made me happy to know, like, okay, I'm overstimulated, right? So I'm not using social media as another distractor to keep my mind wandering more, right? Instead, I'm gonna just ground myself to where I'm at and focus on the job. So it ended up really working good, but I was noticing these things. So when I started my fast, I literally was like, God, I want you to reveal something to me. I was like, I just need to know something. Sometimes when I don't know, I just know it's something that I need. I literally just said it like, God, I just need you to reveal something to me. And it sounds crazy, but I feel like me and God are so locked in that when I ask him, I'm literally going to find out. And I did. And he told me on Wednesday. And I was just happy. I'm like, okay, God, thank you, because I needed to know that. And my whole point of the fast was just to get my mind clear again, because I feel like I know when my mind is too noisy. I know when I'm hearing things from too many places that are not right. And I'm just happy that I'm able to tell myself, and King, stop, check yourself and see what's really going on, and let's get to the root of the issue. So as I was thinking about that, and I've been on top of that, reading this book. And the book is called What Happened to You? Conversations on Trauma, Resilience, and Healing. So it's a conversation between a man named Dr. Perry and Oprah Winfrey. And as I've been reading this book, I've been thinking about lots of things. Things have been circling around in my mind. But most importantly, I've really been thinking about, what about if I was someone that did not have this self-awareness to understand myself? I mean, it's truly a gift, but it's also something that can leave you overthinking lots of times in life. But for the most part, I'm thankful for it. So as I was sitting here thinking, I was just reflecting, right? Reflecting on myself, reflecting on where I'm at physically, mentally, spiritually, financially. A quote had came up that I was reading. And the quote was, I want disorder. I want what is familiar. It's important for us to know where this comes from. And I'll read it again. Oprah was saying, I want disorder. I want what is familiar. And when I was thinking about this, I thought about this idea of how we put ourselves in situations that we know are not positive, or we know that don't benefit us, but is what's familiar, so it seems right. So it's kind of similar with the idea of self-sabotage, when people are in good positions and all they know is what's negative and what's dysfunctional so that they would literally hurt themselves just for them to feel that familiarity. So when things are right or when things are just not what you are used to, you could tend to run from it. And I was dealing with that in the past situation. That's when a big thing of like, why if someone has a good thing, why do they run away from it, right? Or what is the issue that people are trying to face? Or even with me just even trying to talk to other people about like their own issues. And I'll notice when I'm talking to even friends, sometimes it just doesn't connect for them. And I thought about it and I was like, wow, it's not like that they are doing it on purpose. I'm starting to think a lot of people don't have the onus to be able to say, like, you know what, I'm aware of what I'm feeling. I'm trying to understand why I'm feeling this way. What has triggered this? And as I was talking to my best friend over the weekend, because I was a little sad and I was just talking to her, and I was thinking about this post, and I was like, yeah, you know how they say, oh, if you ever in your feelings, you just not getting enough money. Because if you getting money, then you should be distracted and you so focused that you can't worry about anything else. And I responded with, well, no, I'm one of those type of people that likes to feel uncomfortable, right? I'm fine with going through a stage of uncomfortability. I'm fine with not knowing because I want to sit and I want to wait for God to tell me. I want him to use something else to send a message to me, but I want to know, right? I don't want to just keep moving, getting myself more and more distracted. I don't want so much noise in my head that I'm blocking out the truth and I'm only hearing what I want to hear, or I'm trying to mask it, right? With alcohol, drugs, partying, sex, whatever it is that could be a cover up for what I'm really dealing with. And as I was thinking about that, I was really thinking about the book I've been reading, and it's been talking about how the situation in our lives, primarily in our childhood, how it really affects how self-aware we are, how people don't learn how to be self-aware, and then how people do learn this intuitiveness that only some people are blessed to have this gift of. So as I was thinking about it, and I want to go back to the book to kind of share. So when I was seeing this episode, I'm like, this episode could kind of be like, I don't want to say like a book report, but kind of like a highlight of this book, or maybe just some parts that I want to kind of talk about to you all so that y'all can understand. So let me go up and let me look back at it so I can see. Okay. All right. So this chapter I've been reading is chapter 7 is called Post-Traumatic Wisdom. And it says, in the wake of trauma, the hardest thing to understand is that nothing and no one can take away the pain. And yet that's exactly what we desperately want to do. Because we are social creatures subject to emotional contagion, and when we are around people who are hurting, we hurt too. We don't want to hurt. Right? This is where the idea comes from. I want disorder. I want what is familiar. So when we went back early on to the book, and I went from chapter 6 to chapter 7. Of course, I started from chapter 1, but I'm going up in terms of the notes. This was one that really stood out. A dismissive, disengaged interaction is not building the foundation for a loving person. On the contrary, it's building the foundation for an emotionally hungry, needy person who will long for belonging but won't have the neurobiological capability to really find what they need. Dismissive caregiving can lead to an unquenchable thirst for love. You cannot love if you have not been loved. And I'm going to read it again because I really want y'all to really hear it. It says, a dismissive, disengaged interaction is not building the foundation for a loving person. On the contrary, it's building the foundation for an emotionally hungry, needy person who will long for belonging but won't have the neurobiological capability to really find what they need. Dismissive caregiving can lead to an unquenchable thirst for love. You cannot love if you have not been loved. So on this journey that I have been on in life, I would say I am someone that is extremely self-aware. I am always questioning, why did I do something? What am I trying to get out of this? Am I projecting on other people? Are my own insecurities coming out? What am I trying to say without saying it? Because I just like being as real as possible with myself, but also I like to get to the real meat of it, right? I don't want things that are superficial. I don't like the cover-ups. And I've just been thinking a lot about friendships and relationships. When we're dealing with people that do not know how to be self-aware, that could be really hard to the people that are self-aware, and it becomes this thing of like a push and pull, right? It's always a fight or flight. And in a situation I was in, I was journaling and I was thinking about, how do I combat or how do I deal with someone who's always in a fight or flight mode? And how do we get people to become self-aware. That's my whole thing. Like, how can I get him to really understand how he's feeling? Or how can I get my friend to really like sit with herself and stop trying to distract herself? Or how can I challenge my daddy to think about what are the things that you are doing that you could be paying attention to, or what's the message you really are sending? Like, for example, it irks me so bad when my dad laughs after he says something serious. Like, no, you're serious and you're passionate about it, but you're using laughter as a way to make it dumb down, right? Or you're using this as like a coping mechanism when you're talking about a hard topic instead of just being stern and saying what it is. And as I was thinking about that, I started to critique myself, and I'm just like, wow, what about if that was the one thing I could do? I always say, if I could do anything that gave me money, I would want to teach about self-awareness or teach about how to understand yourself and where this all came from. When I was a younger girl and I was like 19 years old, I wasn't able to regulate my emotions the way I am now. And I don't even know how I came about being this, like really into it, but it became a thing that I literally started to study. I love self-help books. I love urban fiction books, but I'm really, really, really interested in understanding why our minds are the way that they are and why we respond the way we do to certain reactions or certain situations. It's like, what is that saying about ourselves? And it's funny that I'm talking about this because yesterday, I was talking to my grandma. I was telling her this story. She's like, you got the patience of Job. And I was just like, that's interesting, right? The patience of Job. And I haven't read the book of Job. So, of course, that's my Bible book that I'm reading this week. But it kind of had me thinking, like, how did I become like this? And where did it all come from? So, as I have mentioned to y'all before, me not having a healthy relationship with my mom, and I think having a slight bit of like neglect issues that I deal with and abandonment issues, I started to notice patterns that I had in relationships. And I had them with friendships, of course, non-intimate friendships, and I had them in intimate relationships, and I started to notice a habit of abandonment or neglect. And now I'm starting to see how it has grown. So like I said, self-awareness is truly a beautiful joy. So for example, right now my sister is pregnant. I now can say it out loud. She's almost 5 months pregnant. And I've had 3 instances where I noticed I was triggered. And it all started back, I want to say maybe high school. So my best friend Line, at that time she had moved to Chicago. And I was completely I was very sad. I was like upset with her. Like, how could you leave me? Everything was always, how are you leaving me? Like, why would you want to neglect me? Of course, I didn't have the language to say neglect. It was just like, I would feel lots of negative emotions when my friends would leave me. So that happened with my other best friend. She left and went away to school. I feel like I was abandoned. Then I was really sad. Like, I was like literally crying when these things happened. And then when I had friends that got pregnant, that really, really, really bothered me. I still don't know what that one is about. I think maybe because I'm someone that doesn't want to have a child. So I kind of feel like I'm not really sure where I fit in and societal norms with, like, us as women being people that are supposed to bear children. But anytime any of my friends had a baby, it would really make me sad. And when my last friend had a baby, I literally cried at my desk when she told me. And at that point, I'm like, why am I feeling so deep about this? You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't have a baby. It's not my baby. Like, what is this about? And I brought it up to my daddy, I brought it up to my grandma, and I brought it up to my therapist. And she let me know, like, in Kenge, this idea of people leaving you and leaving the familiarity and the comfort that y'all have, that scares you and it makes you very upset. So for more context, I was the person that went to school here. I went to Michigan State University. I don't travel too far from home. I don't do anything that takes me out of my comfort zone. So for me, it was a safe space. Same way how my daddy has always been my safe haven, because growing up, when I felt neglected or I felt those issues I was dealing with my mom, my dad was my savior person that I went to. So that's how this habit or this idea of security with him came about. So it's much more deeper than, oh, this is just the man that raised me primarily, which plays a big factor, but this is also where I've got my safety net from. So as I've been dating, I started to notice those same things. And what helped me, they said, like, oh, you got to take care of yourself. Taking care of myself for me looked like identifying what those patterns were, right? Why do I have to prove myself? Why am I in this habit, or why do I have this habit of constantly having to be reinforced by people and having to be affirmed by people? So I notice when I'm not on social media, right, I'm not as pressed to go outside, or I'm not as pressed to do things that will require me to look a certain way because there's no one there to judge me. So then I came to the conclusion of, okay, I need to take more fast from social media because I'm putting too much into the affirmation or people having to affirm me, right? The likes, making sure we pose in a certain way. What is the caption going to be? Is it at this right time of the day? If someone doesn't like it, I mean, people doesn't like me. All of that, right? And it became so fake and just so much that I noticed in the real world, we don't do that, right? When we go outside, we have no problem going outside looking crazy sometimes. We have on a bonnet, we got on pajamas, right? And there's not that much stress and trigger and pressuring that's there. So for me, it was like, okay, I gotta notice these times and these places where my body feels unregulated. And even then, when I didn't know the word was unregulated, right, I knew one thing, it didn't feel good. I knew I felt better not on social media. And that was something that I've learned years ago. Since I was like 19 or 20, I started to pick up on those things. And I just started to hone in and like grow. And like, I'm like, okay, if this is this, then what's the next connection? And if this is this connection, then what's the next thing, right? And I was like, that's pretty deep. And then as I became a teacher, right, I think that's why I am such a good educator and why people do love me, friends, students, co-workers, bosses, because I have this ability to understand what's going on. And even if I don't understand it immediately, I have the will to want to try, right? And I have the will to want to know. And I'm saying all of this to say, when you are someone trying to change or trying to understand yourself or trying to just get a better sense of your reality, it's really important to think about, what do you want to get out of this? When people go to therapy, I think a lot of people don't go to therapy because they don't really know the point of it. And I would say, simply put, therapy tells you things about yourself that you didn't know, and it points it out, right, in an unbiased way. So when you're thinking about how to become more self-aware, that I wish all people were, you have to think about, do you have an issue in your opinion, right? What are things that you do continuously? What are the things that are only happen during some points of your life? What are the patterns? Where can I just start? So for me, and I think I know that, like, hey, King, maybe this has always been you. I remember I used to take quizzes. I love a good quiz on Google. I find personality quizzes to take because I'm interested to see, like, okay, from this unbiased view, I know it's created to produce certain results, but it's like, what is this saying about me? And then I match it up and I compare it to how I really am. So if you're someone that does want to know more about yourself, try a personality quiz. The love language quiz is also another one, right? Teaching you how to love, how you want to be loved, what are the things that people can do to make you feel loved. I always tell people all the time, if this person wants you to buy them gifts and all you are doing is spending time with them, they won't feel loved. Although that's the way you display love, that's not the way that they prefer to receive love. And I had a friend, we're still friends, she always say, and King Gabe, my thing that I do is I love people the way that they want to be loved. And when she said, I'm like, that make a lot of sense, right? You're just doing what that person wants you to do, right? What is the thing that you could do for that person that makes them happy? You know what I'm saying? Like, what is that? What does that look like? And I notice even with parents, that's a big thing. Sometimes you'll have parents say, I did all of this for you. I'm working hard. I'm working these 2 jobs. But it's like, little do you know, maybe that child just wants you to come to their recital. So although you're working and you're trying to pay the bills and you're doing all of these things, right? Maybe they just want attention. So for them, those gifts that you're buying them does not substitute for that physical touch or that attention or that time that they so desperately need. And on top of that, or to add to that, right now I am a mentor teacher. So my current job during the summer is I am teaching teachers how to be teachers. And it's been a really interesting position because I'm looking at people and I'm literally observing and judging people all day. And not judging in a negative way, right? But I'm having to look at what you're doing. I'm looking at your moves. I'm looking at how you're responding. I'm looking at what you're saying without saying it verbally, right? Maybe it's in your body language. Maybe it's in your tone. Maybe it's in how you care with people. And it makes me think about this, how do I want to say this? It makes me think about how the little moments in our careers and the things that we do tell us so much about ourselves without even realizing it. So I was talking to my friend and we were doing this thing to, like, okay, where her life is, preparing her for what she want to do next. And it was like immediately from the things that she listed that she liked to do, it told me a lot about her. And even me, like at 26, almost 27, and being someone that loves to learn more about herself, is so many things I learn every day that is new. So, for example, I was doing the assignment with my kids on Thursday and other mentor teachers, and it was like, what are some of the things that you do with your family together? And it was a lot of questions about togetherness. And that right there gave me the answer I've been looking for a while. And the question I was asking myself was, why don't I like to spend time with people? So, my friends may not notice this, or maybe they do. I'm someone that does not actively spend meaningless time. So meaningless time is like, I'm not the friend that you come over like, hey girl, I'm about to just come sit and just be in your presence. I don't like that. I'm actually like timing it. Like, okay, it's now been an hour. Like, when are you about to go? I'm more so somebody where like, if I want to spend time with you, as like I want us to be like actively doing something. I don't want to just like chill. I'm not really a chill person. And I always wanted to know like, where does that come from? Of like why I'm not able to be close with people in that way, or like enjoy that type of stuff. And I noticed that because I don't have many times in my life where I've spent time with my family. I don't have a big family. It's majority, like not majority. My family is me, Aini, my daddy, my grandma, and my auntie, God rest her soul. That's my family, like those 5 people. Of course I have more people than that, but that's my family. Like that's who I grew up with. Those are the people who I spend time with. And I have cousins, but they were like older, kind of distant, not there. So I didn't really grow up in a space where togetherness was a major thing. My togetherness was literally me, I need my grandma, my daddy, and my auntie on the holidays. And I think that's why I looked forward to those so much, because it was a time where I was able to be together, or in what I say, I guess in something with people. I was able to share an intimate time. Like even I didn't eat at a table together growing up with my daddy and my sister. We always did our own thing. So I'm someone that really likes to be alone. Even if it's a group of people, I noticed that with the other mentor teachers, they'll sit around each other during lunchtime, and I like go in a separate room. And it's not even that I'm trying to be funny act or anything, but I just enjoy my alone time more than I enjoy spending time with people unless I'm actively doing something. So like that was a thing of like, okay, that's me being self-aware. I'm noticing what I'm doing, and then I'm going back to the why of it. And this comes out with even relationships. Like why are you, as a woman who continuously to be in situations with guys that continuously to take advantage of you, whether that be physically, mentally, spiritually, financially? Where did that come from? You could be a guy and always kind of feel like you have to prove yourself, and you're not able to just be vulnerable or be transparent or just be your regular self, because somewhere along the line you've been told that that's not who you are. Or for people who feel like they have imposter syndrome, or people who are not able to just be who they are, right? They're always stuck in trying to conform. You have to think about, where did that come from? Right? Did you have a parent that always made you be like your sister? Did you have a parent who made you forced to be in this position or go to this school because that's what they wanted, and that's what your whole life was brought up on, right? You have to think about, where did this idea of your own self come from? I know last episode I was talking about, where does your financial beliefs come from, but like, how do you live? Like, how did you become this person that you are, right? Where did it all start at? Did it start at college? Did it start in high school? Did it start when you were 5 years old and your dad got shot, right? Or your parents put you in foster care, or you weren't loved and supported? Or was it because you had all of this love growing up that now when you deal with these negative things, you don't really know how to combat, or you don't know how to shake back? Because that's another thing I've noticed on a different scale, and that's a different conversation, but I've noticed how some people, I almost wonder, they're able to deal with more negative situations of like taking care of people because they didn't have that burden growing up. So it doesn't feel as heavy now. So many ways to look at it. And I'm going over these just to like give many random examples, but things that are real life of how we become the people who we are, right? We all of us come here as a blank slate, right? We come here, we plan it here. All of our beliefs, all of our attitudes, all of our things that we align with come from all of our experiences. The experiences we have been through from birth up until this point has made us who we are. And sometimes we don't really pay attention to, or are willing to sit down and reflect on those times that maybe you thought were small and minuscule, that really, really, really play a major part and impact on why you are the way you are, whether that be negative or positive. Um, so as I'm thinking about, or as I'm transitioning to like, how do we heal from these situations that we're not proud of? Or how do we make ourselves become better, or be people who are able to I'm not going to say be a better person, but like I said, just be self-aware or just be someone that has a better understanding of self. I say it starts with finding resources, right? Finding resources that help you, even if it's a simple book. I love Brene Brown. She's really big on vulnerability and pushing it as a parent. She pushes that like in the workspace and community. She's just amazing. Her name is Brene Brown, Brene, and then Brown. She's a white woman. And she always talks about doing like heart work. And I feel like it's very light, but still like good. Like it's really, really, really good. If you're someone interested in learning more about love and how we love the way we do, and what that means and how that shows up, I would definitely say Bell Hooks All About Love book. So amazing. I love that book. That book definitely started me with identifying love as work, right? Something that has to be maintained. It's not a feeling, right? Love means you're responsible for something. Love means you're willing to maintain it and work at it. It's not something that just happens just because, right? Really honing in on like that intentionality. Going over those quizzes or those books, right? But it starts on a small thing, a small scale. I say small thing, small scale of just start journaling. Start journaling, right? How do you feel? What's on your mind? The more you do that, you will start to see patterns. Like, sadly, I was in a situation. I was mad. I'm like, okay, I'm always mad at this point at him. I wrote this 6 times in my journal. It's starting to be a habit at this time of the month, right? And I was able to literally go back to my journal. That was my evidence as to all the wrongdoing he was doing, right? But it provided me the evidence through a pattern. I started to pay attention to what was going on. Or even if you start to realize that, okay, I'm more moody around these people. These people may be making you uncomfortable. Is it your job? Is it how you're responding? What are some of the things that you could do differently to make you less stimulated? Or what are some of the things you could do that could bring you joy? Like one of my mentors, she had made this statement. We were talking about spending money, and she was like, Kinga, your problem is you want to take care of yourself one time and do it really big. Have you ever thought about taking care of yourself on the regular so that you don't have to do these big old things to overcompensate? Because what you're not realizing is no matter how big the thing is, it's still not going to last, right? After the hurrah is over, you're back depleted. Whereas if you took care of yourself daily or every other day or weekly, right? You start to look forward to those things, and it's more so a healthier balance. Even if that means when I get home from work, I'm about to just watch my favorite TV show. No matter if I got something to do, I can do it at a later point, right? Or I can schedule it in a way that still honors me and the work that I have to do. So just kind of really digging in deep and thinking about like, what are the things you could do to take care of yourself? Because I always tell people when it comes to self-care and self-awareness, it all comes down to the foundation of how you are taking care of yourself. If you are taking care of yourself, you are aware of the things that you are doing that is not benefit to getting you to your higher self. If you are self-aware, you are understanding why these negative things are impacting you the way that they are. And if you really are self-aware and taking care of yourself, you start to make changes, right? My daddy used to always tell me doing the same thing looking for a different result is delusional. And I say that like, you doing the same thing looking for a different result, you look dumb and delusional, right? And I tell myself, I don't ever want to be delusional. I want to be real with myself all the time. Because at the end of the day, you could tell a lie to somebody else, but don't start lying to yourself. The moment you start lying to yourself, it's real hard to get out of. I say it all the time. I'm somebody who, no matter what, I'm not going to lie to myself. I may tell a jokey joke or I may act like it to the world, but at the end of the day, when those doors close and I'm sitting at my house and I'm in my moment and I'm sitting with me and it's only me there, no cameras, no lights, no mask, that's the time where I got to be real and I got to think about how did I get here? Where can I go next? And what does that mean for me? So this episode was like really important for me to share because I just am really at a point where I don't even like people that's not self-aware, to just be honest. I don't understand people growing every single day and not growing with their sense of self, not growing with who they are or why they do the things that we do, right? We're too old and we're too big to just be doing stuff haphazardly. I tell people all the time, oh, you gonna be intentional with me. I don't care if it's friends, boyfriends, bosses, whatever. I don't do willy-nilly. I need you to know why you're doing it. I need to know why you're doing it to me. I need to know what was your mindset behind doing it because it got to make sense. I tell people my favorite quote, everybody tell you, it got to make sense and it got to make sense. So when it comes to understanding yourself and just getting stronger at that aspect, I just really want to encourage just a group of people, whoever it is, a society, I wish, even the whole world, to just tap in, right? And you do it small and build yourself up. Start with journaling. Start looking up questions, like self-reflection questions, and answering them. Start journaling and writing down questions that are specifically focused on what you want to know about yourself. If you are trying to think about why you're so mean all the time, you shouldn't be looking at stuff for a positive person, right? Make it make sense. And there's so many resources out here, like so many: paper, digital, a friend, a podcast, a good pastor, whatever the case may be. And hopefully the things we don't want to talk about, right, to help you talk about these things, because that's my point in my podcast. I want people to listen to it and look at things from a different perspective and think about how you can grow, what does your growth look like, and how you can create a plan for your life that benefits you. So, to end this off on this episode, and to just get y'all started into this month of July, my birthday month, I want to challenge everyone that's listening to just go the next step when it comes to be self-aware. If you're already someone that's intuitive, you already are being aware of the things that you do, I want you to take it to the next step and think about maybe a different thing or a different category you really could focus on. Or you could think about what's another thing you want to work on about yourself. So, like, for example, if mine last month was like trying to work on why I had a relationship with my mom the way I do, I found out that answer, right? It wasn't the one I was looking for, but I got that answer. I think my new one I'm going to work on now, because I'm preparing for my 27 things that I've learned in life, is going to be what have I learned thus far? What have I learned this far? Primarily with dating. Dating is a really big part of my life personally. I think because I was a serial dater, and I mean that's what I do. Like I date, I go to work. That's kind of like my thing. But I want to focus on like what are the patterns I've noticed in the men I've dated. What are the patterns I've learned and I'm noticing about myself in terms of like my own self-worth. How have I let other people give me worth or attach worth to me? And then think about going forward, what does that look like when I take onus of everything I want my life to be? So that's what I'm working on for July, as I'm preparing for this 27 years young. But that's what I want y'all to do. So I want to say thank you again for listening. We have 3 more episodes this season, which is crazy. And yes, happy July, happy self-awareness time. And I will talk to you all next time. Bye.